Good morning, traders. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today is Monday, January the 8th, 2024. No major news today. Remember, this is Monday. Adjust your ATM for your preference, your choice for Monday trading. If you desire to change it, and generally, if you're changing it, we're normally looking for maybe more chop than on another day of the week. But recently, we can have a session where we have really good trends, chop, 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 then a trend, and then more chop. It makes it difficult to discern exactly what's going to happen, but we will adjust accordingly to the best of our ability. So we had a strong push up if you're watching the market on your screen from about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, started moving up. So we're basically in an uptrend, and what we will look for is a pullback and an entry. Last week was a very good week. We hope to do the same. But again, I'm going to advocate for let's try to find some profitable trades, book them, and move on to other things. We have a wicks, which we call a sticks, but it just got to 8 o'clock, and we've had a big move, so we can never say for 100% what's going to happen, but it could very well reverse here. And that's a pretty good tail on it, which we call, as you already know, we call a sticks. Okay, it is pushing up. But it's moving very, very slowly so far. Typical Monday. Okay, getting a pullback here. So what we're going to do is set a spiral up, and we will select a trio up also, in case we get a swing pivot. Okay, still pulling back, pulling back. Okay, we got a tail put in, or trying to put in. So we will see if we get a pivot tail here. We will start a swing pivot, which we like to do, as you know, if you've been in the room a while. We love trio. That's a little more risk, but it gets you in early. And what I like about that in this market is many times you need to get in early and get a profit and get out. Hopefully we get a trade and get a little profit here. Otherwise, we could have laid in bed until just before 8:30 or later. And many days, a lot of traders trade after 10 with the NQ. The 9:30-ish time frame can be brutal in that. Okay, we got filled. Um, And let's just see if we can tick up here and pick up a profit. Okay, nice. We got an initial profit. And let's just see how far this runs. We have some new members today, and probably they have not had an opportunity to work with the strategy. So I'm going to continue to repeat, apologize for people that have heard it over and over. Our strategy allows you to anticipate a trade, a setup, just like we just got. We set it up significantly in advance, and it handled everything else from there. Now, some people, and me occasionally also, like to move the stop up, especially if it's moved up, but it's kind of stalled. We like to push that stop on up somewhat, mitigate the loss. But in this case, it popped right there. And you notice I'm running a much smaller target today on the profit target. I'm running 2 contracts, whereas you guys notice many days I'll run 3 or even 4, depending on the market. We have to make an assessment and adjust to what we see currently, and that might change. Especially now, I've seen it change 3 or 4 times within a session to different characteristics altogether. That could have been a bigger trade, but the question is, how do we know? And the answer is we don't, especially when something's moving this slowly. I mean, we've been in here 21 minutes and it's made a pullback. Started triggering about 8:15, so about 5 minutes. Very slow bars. So again, what we're going to look for here is a pullback and another entry setup, potentially. Now, as most of you know, at 8:30, you can get some very rapid, choppy movement. Not really tradable because there's so much slippage in it. So when that happens, we wait. We'll wait to 8:35, 8:40, 9 o'clock if necessary, which I like to trade that. Okay. So we're pushing the high fib out, which you see. A lot of times you can get a turn here also when it's pushing the daily fib high. Usually it will exhaust and pull back and then re-enter the push high. We have another wicks, another stick. But again, this has moved dramatically, and I'm not about to take it. Doesn't mean it won't work out. We never can predict that, but the probability is significantly less than if it had happened much earlier. A good rule of thumb is on the wicks is take the first one as long as it hasn't moved too far. And I know that's somewhat subjective, but you get a good feel for trends. Like if we come back up here, this has moved dramatically far and had a pullback. And there's nothing to say this will lose other than it's moved so far, and the market likes to pull back and rest, whichever direction it's going in. Okay. I don't like this that much. I mean, this 16,500's right up here. Big number. We got the fib high. Which is very close to the number. So I'm not going to take this right now. Okay, we're in the 8:30 window, which we knew because it pulled back, which is something that can typically happen. But this market is not committed strongly one way or the other, even though that trend moved up nicely, but extremely slowly. That's a pivot marker that I'm using, which just draws attention to it. When the NQ's moving like this, you're really asking for it if you try to jump in on a trade. So we're ahead of the game. Let's just hang out. You can pour you another cup of coffee or get up and stretch. I mean, the 8:30 movement was absolutely anemic. Okay. I'm not going to do anything. If it triggers off of here, I don't like the resistance above. We've got the fib, which is significant. And we got the major price level, which is significant. Excuse me. Okay, this is painful. I mean, just one bar is working us to death. We got a lot of resistance down also. Well, that would have worked out. Depending on where you set your stop, because it was a big wicks up. But here we're gonna see if we can get a spiral up. We already got a trio. And it's not wanting to move up. Okay, we got a fill on the spiral, but it's not showing strength at all. Not good. So now we're in the hole. And I knew and said it's just weak. And those setups with a weak market are perfect for the quote market makers to push to the stops out. They do it all the time. I'm going to wait till the market shows a little strength. Because this is not honestly not tradable. Okay. If we get through here, we're going to buy. Up. That was quick. Okay. I hope, and I'm sure some of you missed that. It's not your fault. It just moved that quickly. Um, a lot of times, if I have time, I will set an entry above the area, the pivot. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the 9 o'clock open. And that's typical. Usually it's typical on the 8:30-ish also, but you see here virtually nothing today. That was actually another winner, even though back through the moving averages. Okay. We can set a spiral here. We've got significant support. We have a pivot, a swing pivot. We have a fib. And we're in again, hopefully There's enough momentum that they won't be able to push us out. Okay, now we're back even. And it is 9:10, so we have plenty of time to turn this day around. Or we already have, really, since we're not in the hole, but it would have been really easy for traders to miss that one trade that exploded on the open. Okay. It's making a nice move up. Well, we got two things here. We're headed towards the 930. We're showing a lot of strength. That last wick, which is sticks, would have been a positive. We're going to get another one. We will select this. I will up. And let's see if we pull back more or if it pushes up and continues. Remember where we are. And these whole numbers can, I mean, that's what's pulling this thing back is the vision of whole numbers for many traders. Okay, we don't know if we're going to get pulled back. Eight minutes till the open. It's generally not a good idea to be in a position in either direction on the open because it's manually whipped in multiple directions. So it's very easy to stomp a stop. Okay, baby, just a little more. 6 minutes. got to pivot down. That's what that is called, a flash. It makes you see it. Whereas with the naked eye in the chart, it's difficult to see those tails. We have just a few minutes. And honestly, we absolutely got lucky, and I came within a, a hair width of closing it out because of the open. But we're okay. Let's see what the open does. And we got a decent profit for 2 contracts. There we go. It's not open yet. The 930 is not open yet, but it's close. All right, there we go. Let's let this thing settle out. Way too fast. You won't likely get a fill on that. We're using the limit +1, as you can see up here in the strategy. The good thing is we won't get fill, because the way the system works is you'll have a market order and they'll fill you right where they're ready to turn the market back against you. It happens all the time. So it's not necessarily the best way. I like the limit. We miss it sometimes, and usually it turns out to be favorable for us that we did miss it. When you see these big moves like this, you look at the bars from one to the next, and many times it's the exact same time frame, which means it flashed and went multiple bars, and you would not have gotten filled on a limit, but you would eventually have gotten filled on a market, and it would have been up in here somewhere. Okay, we're going to start looking again for trade. It's close to 9:35-ish. I'd really like to see a better pullback. I mean, this would have, yeah, we wouldn't have gotten fill there either. All right, let's hit the spiral again. It's getting to be an extended trend. You might consider sitting this out. Whoa. Okay. I'm going to call this a day. It's been tough, and that just showed you how to pull out of a big loss, and we did have one. Fortunately, we had a win before that. That's $320 minus commission on the day. Tomorrow should be smoother. Hopefully not this slow. So we'll call it for tomorrow. You'll get an email on what time we're looking at the news window. I think there's one news window, if I remember, but I'll put that in the email, and we'll predicate our opening and our ATM and our bar settings based on what we see tomorrow. Have a great day. See you guys and gals tomorrow. Take care.